Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the last episode of Bright Spots for Season 2. I am so glad that you've decided to spend a little bit of time with us, either this evening or maybe on the replay. Thank you for being here. This is an interactive show, so make sure if you have questions or comments for our guest or our host, put it down below. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know what you'd like to see on Bright Spots next. We do have a new season starting in September, and we've got some great guests already lined up. So I hope you'll join us next week for our final episode for season 2, and then come back again in the fall for a whole new season of Bright Spots. This has been an extraordinary year and an extraordinary day. If you're here in the Ohio Valley, I think we hit 90 degrees today. The first 90-degree day, maybe. Yeah. It's pretty warm out there. Not too humid, though, so it's actually pretty nice. I think that we're all looking forward to seeing the sunshine, a little less rain, maybe, right? And some beautiful weather to enjoy our families in the great outdoors. So this evening, our guest, I'm very excited to bring her on. She hails from Tampa, Florida, I do believe, and I'm sure she'll correct me if I'm incorrect, but I think that's what I read and what I remember. Our guest is Lisa Hannigan. She is the founder of Glimmer Learning, LLC. It's a company specializing in virtual engagement training and coaching for leaders and established speakers to help them increase the impact of their message and maximize their results. Lisa has a passion for helping others grow. She is a certified master trainer in the field of learning and organizational development with a focus on virtual training and instructional design. Lisa brings 15 plus years of tools and techniques to her clients and teaches them how to deliver a high impact, engaging presentation to inspire and connect every time they speak. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome to the Bright Spot studio, Lisa Hannigan. Hi, Lisa.
Hi. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
It is great to have you, and it's always easy to talk about speakers that have a great bio. So thank you for joining us. So Lisa, tell us about your journey to Glimmer Learning. Did you start as a speaker? What did you do before Glimmer? And how did Glimmer come about? Just give us the backstory.
Okay, well, yes. Now, while I definitely did not start as a speaker, I was pretty shy and did not plan on even being a trainer in the field of learning and development, kind of thrown into it. And I've heard that story from others before. Had to fill in kind of for someone that was not there that day. I was the administrator for our learning and development department way back almost 20 years ago now, I guess, for a trucking company. And I had heard them do this spiel thousands of times. And so they said, oh, you can do this, and kind of went out and started doing my training way back then. And I fell in love with just working with people and helping people learn new things. And that's kind of where my passion for, supporting others with growth and development just kind of started right there. And it was a struggle, definitely. And then kind of from there grew into just wanting to know everything about learning and development, and became certified later on. And learning and development definitely was going towards that online world, that online space when it comes to e-learning and just people being online and wanting to be able to, have other ways to learn. So that's why I took an interest in the virtual area. And this was before COVID, so I don't know if I had a premonition or what, but it did come in handy definitely over the past year for me to be able to support and help a lot of people.
So, and how long has Glimmer Learning, and how long have you been doing this, I guess? Has it just been a few years?
Well, so as far as virtual engagement and all of that, I've been doing that for years, so again, that part, that the experience part's been there for a long time. So the actual starting my business just kind of came about. I was helping people in the background and supporting people on different types of events. And a lot of people were starting to make e-learning things and then wanting to do virtual events for various reasons. And then when COVID hit, people wanted, they had to do things, if they wanted to continue their business or they wanted to continue their networking events. And a lot of things were happening for free, and my husband was in the background going, hey, well, you could be making money doing this.
Husbands.
Yeah. So he said, I know that you love helping others and you don't mind. He said, but really, he said, you're doing a lot of stuff that you really, you wanted to start a business and you love this so much. Why don't you just make it official and do that? So that's when I did officially, say, okay, let's put, let's make this official and let's actually, have a business.
Great. So, Lisa, one of the things that you are passionate about is that you love to help people increase their confidence here in this virtual space. So, tell us a little bit about that and how you actually do that.
Well, like you said, my focus, my main target audience are leaders and established speakers. However, I work with a lot of different people, but I find that a lot of times people get in this setting and they feel a little uncomfortable. It can be a little awkward because I think most of us in the past, we were just looking at this space as a place to have a quick meeting, maybe do a presentation. We weren't looking at it as truly a place to engage and connect with people. And we had to make a quick shift last year, and people realized that that was something that they were challenged with. So people who were established speakers and phenomenal leaders were in this place where they weren't feeling confident that they were still making that same impact. It wasn't translating the same way when they got inside this box, so to speak. So what I do is I share, techniques with them that I've learned over many years and also learned from others that helps them to kind of get past that feeling and that lack of confidence. And some of it's just simple things, just making yourself look good, making yourself, simple things, making sure your lighting's good and that people can see you, making sure that, some people are just uncomfortable with the technology. So they just need to feel comfortable using the technology. And then a lot of times it's a mindset shift. It's not focusing so much on I'm inside the space. It's getting past that and sometimes as simple as pretending you're talking to a live person instead of that camera lens. So I customize every experience and every session to the person I'm working with. I don't feel like it's a one mold fits all because we're all, different in how we engage and connect. So I really try to work with my clients with that in mind.
Okay. And that's great. And I think, I've been living in this virtual space for a while myself, and going from someone who was used to speaking in front of audiences and then transitioning that to a virtual audience. How do you teach folks to be authentic and really have that authentic connection with now a virtual audience?
Well, I think first off, you have to start with yourself. You have to place yourself in that feeling of that, forget about the technology. Now, obviously you need to be comfortable, you need to know how to use it, but you have to forget about that. And you have to really focus on your expertise, what you're going to be sharing, that what you have to share is important. People are there because they want to hear your message. They want to listen to the content that you're sharing, whether you're selling something, whether you're selling a service, a product, or if you're just there to share a story. The people are there for that reason, and focus more on making that connection and sharing your story and sharing your message and come across with that authority and that expertise that you have. That's when you're authentic, and that's when your confidence shines. And you truly can make those connections and be engaging and interact with the people that are there. You have the ability to still interact and make some very impactful and very authentic connections within the space if you just don't think about it as a computer. We're here live. This is live right now. And I always remind everybody of that. Forget about in-person versus virtual. It's all live. It's all the same. So you can be authentic and make some great connections.
So, Lisa, I posed this question to a lot of different speakers that come on the show and coaches that come on the show. So, what is one maybe just a speaker topic, not necessarily the person themselves, that really stands out to you that has been able to take the virtual space and kind of own it? What was their topic? What did they do that really stood out from other speakers?
Oh, that's a tough one. Oh, goodness. I've seen so many things done within the space, but I really, I think that the ones, and I don't even think I can name a person. I just feel like the ones that I connect with the most are the ones that are just they're so into sharing their story. They're great storytellers. I think that that's my favorite. People who get up there and are so vulnerable and they share their story. So you just retain the knowledge. You're just fascinated. You're glued to the screen and you're not multitasking. So you are there, you're in it, you're with them, you're connected. That's just what I think is beautiful, is when people are vulnerable and they're sharing their story with you and connecting it all so that you feel like you're in this experience with them.
Yeah. And it's funny because if you think about that, that's true whether you're virtual or live. That's true of any good speaker. If the speaker can really draw the audience in and through their passion and their storytelling, that is the mark of a great speaker. So what about on the flip side of that? What's the biggest fail that you have seen either in the virtual space or in the live space from a speaker?
Well, in the virtual space, for me, I think still something that people are challenged with is feeling that they can just go right in here and just do it. Yeah, you can wing it. I think, in some cases your audience can be forgiving, but I think that you need to be very careful. And what I mean by that is there is still technology involved and, it is going to fail at times, but if you don't know how to use it, and the majority of your time is spent on you trying to figure out how to use it, your presence is already diminishing. And even though you might be an expert at what you're there to talk about, people now have focused totally on your flopping with the technology, and they're either leaving or they're tuning you out already. So I feel like you do need to acknowledge that there are some differences, not a lot. It's really 80-20. It applies in here. It's 80% is basically the same as in person, and 20% is a little different, and that's the technology and the touch points. And if you can master those two things, I think you can be really strong and engaging and connecting within the space.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Lisa, this virtual space has really taken a front seat during the pandemic. And you're right, it was kind of going that direction prior to. A lot of people were doing, in person and virtual, and some of them were doing a hybrid of both. So, how do you create engaging content that really makes your presentation memorable? Do folks want to still use it? The PowerPoint presentations or other presentation type things, or is it more of a face-to-face on screen, or is it a mixture of both?
Well, I think it is still a mixture, and it is about what you're comfortable with. Everybody, there's different types of facilitators. There's the ones that love to use the visuals, and visuals, if you use both your visuals and your words, people are going to retain that information more. So I really think it feels like number one, it's based on number one, what are you most comfortable with? But also, well, what are you there? What's your purpose? Are you there because you are presenting a topic that you want people to take some, to have some takeaways. So you may want to have some visuals so that they are going to retain that information. If you're there and you're just sharing a message, and you want them mainly to focus on that story that you're telling, maybe you don't need so many visuals, or maybe none at all. So again, it's about what's the purpose, what's the content that's involved, and just, what do you want your audience, the participants there, what do you want them doing with the time, with your message, and with that information that you're sharing with them. But visuals have a strong purpose. But they can overtake your presentation if if they're not the right visuals that go along with your message and your content.
So, do you also work with speakers on how to make themselves known out on the internet? Like, do you coach at all about whether to have a Facebook page or a LinkedIn page or a Instagram? Is that within your purview, or do you mostly concentrate on this right here on screen?
I mainly concentrate on the on-screen. The only thing that I do that's anywhere similar to talking about social media of any sort is if I am working with someone that is planning an event and I'm helping them to do an actual virtual strategy. So that's part of my services. I may talk specifically to them about how are you going to be engaging with your people about the event, and that engagement starts pre-event. So it's pre-event, during event, and post-event, because I always tell my clients there's 3 reasons why people come to events, and that's for the content, that's for connection, and that's for community. And if you want all of that to be happening in this engagement, and especially this community to start forming even before the event, and people to be interested and start talking, you need to have some type of event page that's created, whether that's a Facebook page, or whatever that might be, so that they're already having content in front of them, they're already engaging with you, with each other, and they're forming that community ahead of time. So that's the closest thing I get to any type of social media discussion with my clients. I leave social media and all of that to the professionals. That's not my expertise.
So let's talk about topics. Oftentimes speakers, especially new speakers starting out sometimes, I think they try to cover a variety of topics. How long should a virtual engagement be, virtual talk? And should it be very focused, or can you kind of hippity hop from subject to subject?
Well, again, it's about the purpose. So to me, I feel like, if you're conducting a training, so trainings are really different. You have all day long virtual training sessions, and that's, one of my services that I offer is I help people to design, custom design learning programs. So those are a whole breed in itself. But when you're talking about speaking specifically, so someone doing a virtual talk, most of the presentations that we attend are generally, around 30 minutes or so of someone talking and presenting to you. And then you want to have time for people to give some questions and engagement. I think that that's probably the sweet spot that most of them have been that I've been attending. And I feel like as long as they're engaging and they're actually letting me interact and do stuff in the chat with them and maybe popping up some polls, I can handle that 20 to 30 minutes. But if I have someone just talking to me for 30 minutes, I'm probably going to not last very much longer than that, unless it is some really, really serious, good stuff, some visuals that I'm just super involved with. And that's where that visual strategy comes in.
All right. Well, now you do have a website, and we have talked a little bit about that and had the web URL up on the screen, but let's take a look at your website so that our viewers can see exactly what that looks like. And how did you come up with the name Glimmer Learning? And I love your tagline, Catch the Light of Learning. Tell us the history there.
Okay, well, that's a little bit about my personality. So my friends have dubbed me because I'm very positive, and sometimes it can be annoying. But I have been called Sunshine and Sparkles by my friends for many years. So I wanted to put my personality into the name of my business, and I definitely didn't want to call it Sunshine and Sparkles because that would not sound very professional. So I just kind of thought of some synonyms, and glimmer stuck out to me. And I liked it. It was catchy. And definitely, I'm all about learning. I'm a lifetime learner myself, and I love helping people learn and grow. So I had to have learning in there. So glimmer learning, that's where it came from. And I love anything that shines and is bright, and squirrel catches my eye. So catch the light of learning. That's kind of the tagline that I came up with to go along with that.
Well, that is just fabulous. So walk us through the website here. What can we expect to find here?
Well, on the homepage, you're going to basically, if you don't want to go anywhere else, you're going to find a lot of good nuggets here. So I'm going to share with you, what the Glimmer experience is about. So basically, just letting you know really what is Glimmer and what do I mean by that, so that you know this is all about engaging and connecting. Those are my two power words that I use. And then also it shares just a summary of the services that I offer. So the three services that I offer are virtual facilitation, consulting, and coaching. And then, as I mentioned, I do work with people on virtual event consulting. That's individuals up to full organizations that have events. And also I work with event planners. So a lot of different things there. And then I do custom onboarding design and development. That has not been something that a lot of people have been wanting too much of over the past year because of all this virtual stuff. But really, I have a big heart for people to have great onboarding experiences, because I feel like organizations bringing people into their culture is just so important. So I think that initial experience is just the bond of the organization. But that actually has been something that people are taking a little bit more interest in, because I think that they're revisiting some of the stuff that they put together initially when COVID happened, and they kind of are looking at it and saying, hey, I really think that we need to have kind of a better program than what we kind of put together really fast to make shift through COVID. And now they're revisiting and kind of thinking about, how can we solidify this hybrid type experience for our people, our new hires. So I see that area of my business starting to have some hits again. So I'm excited.
Well, that is exciting. So, folks, if you are just tuning in or you're watching later than the live, this is glimmerlearning.com, and Lisa Hannigan is the founder of Glimmer Learning. And you can come here and learn everything there is to know about Lisa and engage with her. There is a contact form here if you would like to contact her for more information about her consulting services. If you'd like to get some help with your virtual presence, Lisa Hannigan of Glimmer Learning is your gal. So check her out. She's got a wealth of information out there. So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of Bright Spots. And Lisa, is there anything we haven't covered that you would like to make sure that our viewers know?
Well, I think just really importantly that people just, if anyone's listening and they have been shying away from the camera and not sharing their message or kind of nervous about that, I just want to just encourage them. Definitely get out there and share your voice, share your message. There is someone out there that wants to hear from you. I think that it's super important. And nowadays, it's so easy to be at a push of a button to be sharing your message with people all over the world, and they want to hear from you, whether they're commenting or they're saying anything on your post, or when when you're posting anything on social media, whatever platform you're using, somebody's reading it, somebody will find it And it may just be that important message that they need, or that lift or that inspiration. So I just highly encourage everyone, just get out there and share your message. I think it's so important.
Well, thank you, Lisa. And to all of our viewers today and moving forward, if you have questions for Lisa and you want to comment here below in our comment section, we do make sure that our guests get those questions after the fact. So if you're watching this later tonight or even next week, we will get your questions to Lisa so that she can connect with you. So please, if you have questions, be sure you ask those and we will get those to Lisa. Again, visit glimmerlearning.com to learn more. And Lisa, thank you so much for joining us here on Bright Spots.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, that is another episode of Bright Spots in the books. And remember, next week is our final episode for season 2. We hope that you will come back next week to view what is happening next week. We're actually having a panel discussion with 4 incredible ladies who are going to talk about their journey in single parenting. I hope that you're able to join us next week. Until then, keep shining your light. This is Laurie Labishak, your happiness ambassador. Have a great weekend, y'all.